Next up is the Castle Ravenloft board game, and on the way, Mike have a word about this again.
This was a fun project. So basically, yeah, we decided we want to D&D Hero Escape that just came out in January. Actually, I just want to talk about very quickly about that. That's our chance to sort of move into a board game for D&D, and that kind of helped spark this idea for this. And the basic idea for Castle Ravenloft, we've been thinking about doing a D&D board game for a while. And the way I like to think of it is, if you are, say, at a cookout or a barbecue or something with some friends, you all play D&D, you want to play a game, but you don't want to sit down and make up characters and try to launch into a 4-hour D&D session, this is the perfect game for that time. It's really focused on a kind of fast-paced dungeon crawl experience. Some of the games are looked to for inspiration, like as a work with mechanics. Definitely in board games, there's a ton of board games out there. We want to find games that kind of like, well, let's play some games to see kind of what feel we want. So games like Space Hulk and Pandemic were games we look to get that sort of fast-paced, but a cooperative game. So really intense. The way I kind of thought about when we were developing this game was I wanted the players to constantly feel they're on the edge of defeat. That every turn, things just kept getting worse. There are more monsters, more zombies, more skeletons, more vampires coming to the board and crowding it around you to make it really tense, really feel like this sort of claustrophobic. You're trying to get the crypts beneath Castle Ravenloft as quickly as possible to achieve a goal, to finish your adventure. So the game's aimed at 1 to 5 players. You can play it solo if you want. The mechanics are designed to scale up based on the number of players. Basically, it increases how many monsters and traps and other horrors you have to face. It is cooperative. You're all working together. And like I said before, we're really aiming at a game that you can play in an hour. So the way we see it is if you just want a quick D&D, you want to do a quick dungeon crawl with your friends, you can play this in an hour. But it also comes with 13 different adventures. Basically, the scenarios you can play through. There are things like go into the crypts beneath Castle Ravenloft and recover, and I'm going to mess up the name now, but the holy symbol of Ravenloft. Remember the classic adventure, there's the different items you can find. So get into the crypts, get that item and get out. Go into the crypts, find the Dracolich and defeat him. And then we have sort of the final adventure, which is your face-off with Count Strahd. So you can sit down and say, we just want to play an hour, we'll play one of these adventures. I believe there's also a generic adventure if you just want to go dungeon crawling. Let's just see how many monsters we can kill in an hour before we get overwhelmed. Or if you want to play for 4 or 5 hours, you can just go through and play a number of adventures back to back. Comes with 42 minis. That includes the characters and monsters. There is a huge mini in here. The minis are not painted though. This is basically this is the board game market where traditionally if you played Descent, the fantasy flight game, you get the giant box of minis. So to keep the cost under control, we didn't want to have painted minis. And there's also 13 sheets of tiles. It's a modular board that essentially you build as you go. It's very much a classic dungeon crawl. As you go through, you're laying down the tiles, exploring the crypts, and there's cards for events and for monsters. So as you go through, you're randomly drawing to see what traps are sprung around you, what monsters show up, what other bad events. And basically, we took the original Castle Ravenloft adventure from 1984 and went through it and tried to draw as much from that as we could, either in monsters, different events. I believe, and it's kind of funny just going back, my friend Jeremy Crawford, who's an editor, and I'm going to mess her name up, but there was a Banshee in the adventure. When he ran Ravenloft, that was a very important NPC in his campaign. So I made sure to have an event card where you meet that Banshee, and she screams, of course, and does bad things to the players. So it's very much in the very fast-paced, very hectic, rising sense of horror from this board game. And I'm pretty excited about it. So that is coming out in August at Gen Con. And the minis are also the reprints of existing D&D minis. So
Strahd will be Strahd.
Actually, I don't know if we ended up using that Strahd. I think we may have used a different vampire. I'm not sure. I think it's one of the vampires with a sword. He sort of shows up and starts stabbing to death. So so I'm really excited about it. It's been really a blast to play test, and it's a nice, big, heavy box. Like you're definitely getting a lot of game in there. So we're really